for coming on my show, Darren. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. Um, um, First of all, you were in 2012, you were in the Super Bowl halftime show. Is that correct?
I was, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. It's kind of what got me back. My career has been dance oriented for many, many, many years.
Hmm.
And one day I was in the studio just rehearsing with my dance partner at the time, and the answer machine went off, and it was a casting director from LA, and she said, "We wanted to know if you were interested in being in the Super Bowl halftime show with Madonna." And I heard it, but then we kind of stopped and said, she say Madonna? So I called him back, and yeah, they offered me a spot in the halftime show. So that was exciting.
And if I have to ask, what did you do? Because I watch Super Bowl every year, even though my
Mhm.
team may not be in it. So. In 2012, I remember watching the halftime show.
Yeah.
Not 100% remember it, but I remember it. What were you doing? Because I remember Madonna performed in an
Hmm.
halftime show.
Yep.
So I only watched her. And sorry, not everybody else. What was your job? What were you doing?
So the beginning when she came out, you know how the gladiators were pulling her in as she was being brought into the
Hmm.
arena, and it's I was the kind of the first section of guys that were bringing her in. When I showed up the very first day for the rehearsals, we weren't allowed to know where rehearsals were. They bussed us in. They were in a different location every single time we rehearsed because it was obviously a big secret. So when we got there, they kind of funneled us all into this one area, and I was sitting in this chair surrounded by 100 guys that are all obviously professional bodybuilders and or models, all just sitting around me, and I'm thinking, wow, they seated me in the wrong spot. So I'm sitting
Hmm.
there, and they said, we're going to section you guys off, and they started calling off numbers. And the very first number that they called was this guy who was gigantic. He looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be in that group. And then I was the second number that was called. So I got kind of put aside. There were, I want to say, 10 of us that were sectioned off because they came over to us afterwards. We were all standing there, and she said, okay, you guys are my camera line. So you were all specifically picked because the camera is going to pan you as the Super Bowl halftime show happened. So we all had to be registered with SAG. We had to do all that kind of stuff because we were listed as actual characters in the halftime show, even though there were 100 other guys doing exactly the same thing. The 10 of us that were picked for that outside line kind of got a little bit of a special treatment because we were the sight line for the cameras, which was fun.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Um, and that's amazing you got to experience the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah,
And and what got you into acting, if you mind me asking?
I've been doing it since I was a kid. So it's I've always wanted to perform. I've always sang. I've always danced. I've always been putting on some form of a show. When I was in fifth grade, the Thriller came out, Michael Jackson's Thriller. You remember that music video
Yes,
with the
sir.
zombies?
Hmm.
So I remember watching it on TV on VHS and rewinding it till I learned all the choreography from the music video. And then
Really?
then I taught all the neighborhood kids how to do it, and I charged their parents 25 cents to watch it. So I've been putting on and producing shows since I was like 12 years old, and I'm still
Wow.
doing it.
And did your parents know you were charging other parents 25 cents?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You got to have some kind of an entrepreneurial mind in this industry. If you're not hustling and figuring out how you're going to pay your rent, then you're not doing it right.
Right. So you said those are neighbors. Do you still
Hmm.
talk to them? Do they remember you asking for 25 cents?
That was a long time ago, so they probably remember the performance. It was pretty big and right in the middle of our street, so it was a big ordeal. So I'm sure any kid that was involved in it probably remembers doing it and remembers me yelling at them as I was teaching them how to do the dance. So yeah,
I wonder what they think of it now.
probably the same thing I do. That was probably a little bit embarrassing, but it was fun.
Right. Um, Now, let's talk about the most recent because you've done a lot of performing, but
Mhm.
you did Gunslinger and this year, 2024. And
Yes,
what can you tell everybody about that one?
that one's a really cool one. That was done by Agriluna Media, and it's a great group of guys. I've done a couple of projects with them, and that movie, it's a short film, which is a concept for a feature film. And I play a former baseball, not really scout, but a former baseball star who had an injury, developed a special way of pitching so that he could train pitchers to become world class
Hmm.
pitchers. And he sees something special in a kid and is convincing him to come and join this training camp, basically. And there's a backstory there with another person that he had trained that went off to the big leagues. And so my character kind of has something to prove this time. He
Hmm.
wasn't able to pull it off the first time, so he's kind of using this kid to fulfill a wish of his own, but giving that kid a new opportunity as well. It's a great movie, and the cast is really good too.
And where can everybody see it?
It is now, right now, it's actually, it's a Sunday. It just premiered yesterday in northern up by Chicago, I think, at a film festival. So it is currently touring film festivals, and then once it's done with that, it will go to streaming probably. People will be able to see it then.
Awesome. It'll be on YouTube and Netflix
Yeah.
and all
Hmm.
right. Of course, you were on an Unnatural Union from Hell. Is that correct?
I was, yeah, I did Reunion from Hell 2, the sequel.
That's what, yes, I'm sorry. Reunion from Hell from
Yeah.
sequel. Um, I'm sorry. That sounds like a horror movie. So,
Yeah, very, very.
what can you tell everybody about it and where can they watch it?
That is out on streaming too. I think that's out on Tubi or something right now. I can't, maybe Amazon or iTunes. I can't remember. It's out. It's on some streaming thing. You just got to search for it. Um, and it's a kind of a camp slasher type of film. Takes place in a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. It stars three stars from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise
Hmm.
that were reuniting for the first time in decades in that film. And it's set around the character from the first one. And, it's like a typical slasher movie. Havoc ensues and comes after all of us.
Wow, that sounds so thrashing and horror film type.
Yeah, it's definitely a gory horror film for sure.
Mhm. What's your favorite genre?
Um, Probably drama and comedy, although my favorite film sets to be on are horror films for sure. And that is because the horror community is definitely a family. They're a lot of fun, lots of free spirited people. You'd think they would be scary and bloody and gory,
Hmm.
and they kind of are. But when you're engulfed in the environment of everybody creating that film, it's so much fun. And the
Hmm.
people are a blast to be around. So they're my favorite sets. But I love doing drama with a little bit of comedy thrown in.
Hmm. So you love acting in horror films a lot more.
I do. Yeah, I love horror films.
And what's your favorite horror films?
The Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is my favorite, which is why doing Reunion from Hell 2 was such a big deal because it gave me a chance to meet three actors that I grew up watching that were icons to me when I was a kid. And now I got to act opposite them and was fortunate enough to become pretty close friends with a few of them
Hmm.
and have worked with them since. in other projects as well.
That's really awesome. Amazing to hear. Um, you know, what curious, our next question for you is what have you noticed is the most challenging aspect of being an actor in the entertainment industry?
Probably paying your rent. It's a industry that's really hard to support yourself on. It's so there's a lot of different levels of the industry. So I've been fortunate enough that I have been able to support myself
Mhm.
doing the arts, whether it's dancing or acting, and but the most challenging part is getting to a point that you're making enough money to sustain it. Otherwise, it's really just a hobby that pays you occasionally, and you are always left wanting more, wanting to
Right.
do it more, and then it's a hard industry to break into for sure.
You're right. Like you said, like you said, to get money to get paid.
Right,
A lot of people who wants to get into the entertainment industry, they think it's just get in and you get your role and then that's it, right?
right,
They think it's so easy. But they don't know the realization behind the scenes is auditions, and you may have to audition like 100 times or 10 times or 1,000 times or until you get the role that you get picked. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They just don't realize how difficult it is in the entertainment industry because you're getting paid, every time you get on set. So you
yeah.
made a good point.
Yeah, well, you want to be able to support yourself so you can follow your dream and do your
Hmm.
art full time. That's the main goal, is to be able to do it full time. And if
Right,
you're and to be not limited by your schedule of your real life that you're living
right.
at the same time, and
Hmm.
being able to go step into these fantasy roles that are so much fun, which is really what we all want to do, just go and play. But getting to a point to where you're doing it enough that you're earning enough money to make it a full-time job is the hard thing. That, and then also being told no. So we get told no more than we get told yes, and we get turned down for way more parts than we actually get. So you have to get to a point in your mindset of knowing that when you're told no, it's not personal. It doesn't have really anything to do with us as a performer or our ability. It doesn't mean that you suck. It means that they were looking for something else and you didn't fit the vision of that particular person that was making the decision. And that's not a reflection on us. It has
Right.
nothing to do with us. So you just got to get to a point where you have pretty thick skin, and you don't take that personally or start to feel rejected or start to feel like I can't do it, or I'm not good enough. That's a hard thing to overcome in this business too.
100%. I totally agree with you. And I think that was I don't want to, no, I think that was a good message to tell everybody about to get them prepared for the entertainment industry when they want to get
Mm-hmm.
in. 100%. Um, a little bit about you now is a
Okay.
lot of people
Oh
must
no.
be wondering, what does Darren do for fun when you're not acting and performing or doing auditions?
I like to ride my motorcycle, and not anywhere particular. I just like riding it. So sometimes I'll just ride it around town for hours and not worry about it. Um, I, Strangely enough, the things that I love have to do with my job. So I'm fortunate that even when I have free time, I'm really working because I enjoy what I'm doing and I enjoy my work. So I could definitely be accused of working too much and not taking enough downtime for myself. My clients tell me that all the time, and that I need a vacation and I need a rest, but I'm not ready to do that yet. So I just keep pushing and working. I don't take a lot of downtime, but when I do, I like to ride my motorcycle or spend time with my dogs.
Hmm.
I don't get to spend enough time with my dogs.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I've got two giant, ridiculous golden doodles that look like two massive teddy bears. They'll probably jump on me at some point during this, but
Oh,
they're asleep right now.
oh, that's why you're looking at them.
Yeah, they're passed out on the couch.
Maybe because you took them on the walk long enough.
Well, we threw the ball for a lot today.
Um, So you're a type of guy that likes to just go, go, go. Don't like this, go on vacation. Don't like to sit down.
I love to go on vacation. But my vacations usually tie into work. So if I travel somewhere, I'll take a day or two to do something fun or do something I want to do, but I'm also doing something work related while I'm there. So I tie it
Right.
together usually.
Totally
One of these
understand.
days, I'm going to take a vacation where I have to do nothing but lay by the pool and drink margaritas all day and eat tacos. That sounds great to me.
And you never know. Cancun, maybe.
That's right.
Um, where do you see yourself in 5 years in this entertainment industry?
um, in 5 years, probably accepting a Saturn Award for the film that I'm currently producing and trying to get made. I think around that time gives me enough time to get the movie out, get people to see it, and um, I'm manifesting that in my head now. So that's where what I would like to be doing in 5 years and be working on, have it built around the movie that I'm producing.
Mhm. Well, that was my next follow-up question because I knew you were producing your own film.
Hmm.
What came to your idea to produce your own film?
So it's weird that you asked me that because we're going to go back to Reunion from Hell 2, which is where this happened. One night I was sitting on the porch and I was talking to Lisa Wilcox, who was the star of Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street 5, and she was
Mhm.
in Star Trek and a bunch of other stuff. Um, so I was sitting on the porch and we were just having a conversation as two actors, and I said, I'm just curious if there was any role that you have not gotten to play yet as an actress that that if you were given the part, you would just hit it out of the park and it would be the most amazing time you've ever had, as an actor. And she started describing this character for this idea for this film that I had in my head. And honestly, I just started talking. I wasn't really um I was probably blowing some hot air and just being like, yeah, I got this idea for this movie. I had never produced a movie before. I had no idea what I was doing. It was just an idea for a film. So I started telling her about it, and she started getting more and more excited, and she's like, I'm definitely in. I want to do this movie. And then I thought, wow, I can get Lisa Wilcox in a movie that I can make myself. So I thought, maybe I should do this. And then Danny Hassel, who was in Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5, came out and said, what are you guys talking about? So Lisa started pitching the movie to him. And then he said, I'm in. I want to do this too. And I thought, wow, now I've got two of them. And Mark Patton was also in the film. And then he was interested as well. So while talking to a friend on the phone while I was there, this was shot up in the middle of the mountains in Tennessee, and
Hmm.
it was out in the middle of nowhere. So cell reception was bad. But I talked to this friend, and he said, I know this guy who's a film investor, and he's never given me any money, but you're welcome to call him and tell him about your movie and see if he's interested. And so I call this guy who I barely know. I'm walking up the side of a mountain on my cell phone trying to keep reception. I tell him the idea for the movie, and I'm like, oh, I've got Lisa Wilcox attached, and I've got Danny Hassel and Mark
Hmm.
Patton. And then by then, I had already talked to Felissa Rose, who was also a huge horror icon from Sleepaway Camp and Terrifier 2 that just
Right.
came out, tons of stuff. And she had come on as well. So I'm like, I've got all these stars that are ready to be in this movie. And before I was trying to get up enough courage to ask this guy for $25,000. That's all I was going to ask him for. And before I could say it, he said, well, I'm in for 100,000 so far. So my knees buckled out from underneath me because then I thought, wow, now this is real and I really have to do this now. I really have to make this film. So that investor ended up backing out on me, but what he did was he sparked the ball to keep moving
Hmm.
and growing. And then since then, now we have shot the teaser, which was a 15-minute. Basically, was the first 16 pages of the script, and the movie is set in Oz, like the Wizard of Oz. So it's told in a similar fashion. So the
Hmm.
first 16 pages are basically everything happens. everything that happens up to the tornado, which is going to take the character back to Oz. And we shot that. We shot a little bit in LA, we shot some in Cleveland, and brought everybody out, and it ended up looking beautiful. And now we're at a point where we are trying to figure out where we're going in the crowdfunding world versus the investor world, and then also trying to figure out just how cheap can we make this movie, because the original idea and budget was $1 million, which is insane to say out
Mhm.
loud, but we're trying to get that down so we can actually get start production on it again. But that's where we are now. But it's an ongoing process. It's a long process. It's not a process I would ever advise anyone to get
Mhm.
into. Um, it's not one I will ever do again, but I'm excited to make the movie and get it done.
That sounds so exciting. And with all the big stars in there, I can't wait to see the film.
Yeah, we have even more than the stars that shot the teaser, which is out now on my YouTube channel, so people can go and watch the Emerald Forest proof of concept, which is the basically the first 16 pages of the script. You can go check it out. But in that, you'll see Danny Hassel from Nightmare on Elm Street. You'll see Felissa Rose, who plays my wife in the film. And she also plays the Good Witch when we arrive in Oz. Danny plays my best friend in the film, and when I go to Oz, he will also play my enemy because he's the leader of the bad guys in Oz. So um, you're getting those conflicts of this character going to this new world and seeing people that he thinks he knows, but they're not the same people that he knew.
Mhm.
And then you get a glimpse of Lisa, who plays Oz, and the evil queen in the proof of concept as well. You'll get a quick glimpse
Uh,
of her. But when we film, we have Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street. We have Russell Todd from Friday the 13th. We have Doug Jones, who was in Hocus Pocus, and he was in Shape of Water that won all those Oscars a couple years ago. He's a huge star, and he's was kind enough to agree to be in the film as well. So we've got some amazing actors that are going to be filming when we get to the point of shooting it.
mhm. Well, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. Everyone should go check it out. Go check out Darren's trailer and support Darren. And follow-up question now, of course. If people want to donate, where can they go?
We haven't even set that up yet. So
Yeah.
we're just the best place to go right now would be either my Instagram or my Facebook, which is where you'll get the biggest Emerald Forest updates. But there's also a page on Facebook that is the Emerald Forest info page,
Mhm.
and that will have updates on what we're doing as far as crowdfunding and some cool perks. I think the last thing that was posted was asking people what kind of perks they'd like to see in a crowdfunding campaign. So if anybody's got any ideas, go and leave those ideas on Facebook. We would appreciate it.
Everyone, please go check out Darren's page and Facebook and Instagram. Support Darren. Very important film. Um,
Yes.
s- Back to you now, Mr. Darren. Is
Okay.
well, it's always been you, but you know, a little bit. You said you have two dogs. Do you were you the only
Yes.
child? And if you were the only child, or if you weren't the only child, did you have any siblings? Are they also into the entertainment industry?
I do not have any siblings in the entertainment industry. It is just me.
Wow.
Not even parents that were in any kind of performers. They weren't into that either. So I was just some kind of an enigma that was born that thought, I need to be in front of a camera.
And how did your parents
Everybody else
feel?
was pretty normal.
Right. How did your family feel that you wanted to be an actor and you were on screen and
Um, it's probably the same typical story that a million performers have. Like your parents are obviously supportive, but I was from living in a small town in Indiana, and they wanted me to have a backup, a normal life, and a normal career, and not be pursuing the arts. So when I graduated high school, I had $50 in a backpack, and I jumped on a bus and went all the way to the East Coast. So I got as far away from my family and didn't come home for a couple of years. I went
wow.
out there to start auditioning and start trying to build some kind of a life for myself, which I knew if I stayed in Indiana at that time, it probably was not going to happen. So I just took off and made it happen.
Wow. That is
Then from
a
there, I just started dancing and just started building a career one
mhm,
step at a time.
that's an amazing story. Just $50 got in your backpack,
Hmm.
go on the bus, and just went as far as you can go. Inspirational, but it is, if you mind me saying, a bold um, decision to
Yeah,
do. Very
it's
strong.
not real smart. It
That's
wasn't
what I
the
was about to
smartest
say.
thing to do, but
Right.
I felt like I didn't have a choice. I felt like I was being pushed in a different direction,
Hmm.
and my family's very military, and I was being pushed in that direction.
Oh, okay. I understand.
And I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not my goal. That's not my dream. So I knew that I needed to take off in order to do that. So I chose to do. My parents always said I always did everything the hard way, not the easy way, and I definitely did.
And here you
But
are.
it worked for me. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And follow up, next question for you is mental health.
Yes.
Is since September is a suicide prevention month, it's a mental health month for September. Um, the whole month is. What have you noticed, or what's your advice to the rest of the world for folks who are not in the entertainment industry or or they are in the entertainment industry for any age group? What is
Yeah.
your advice for them that maybe you have gone through a little mental health moment in your life, or if you are still struggling, what is your advice to everybody out there? Um, what what's your message to help them get through it?
But for me, it was always just stay out of my head. I think in this industry, it's really easy to think that everything is about you all the time. And it's an industry where you're trying to get seen, you're trying to get noticed, you want to be loved, you want to be appreciated, you want people to tell you how great you are, you want them to love your performances. So it's really an industry that is uh, you're enveloped in me all of the time. And when you have that mindset, then outside things can really affect you and knock you down in a negative way really easily. But it's important to remember that you are not the opinion of other people. So when other people think anything about you, one of my favorite quotes I ever heard was that, and it was Taylor Swift of all people, who said, "People have the right to say anything they want about you at any time, and there's really nothing you can do about it, but you have the right to prove them wrong.
Hmm.
So you have the ability to prove them wrong." And I kind of live by that. So if anybody thinks that I can't do something, I would show them the opposite. If anybody says anything negative, it kind of goes off my back because I have realized and learned that other people's opinions just don't matter. Try to be a good person, try to make sure you treat people correctly, and be kind. And if you live by those rules in life, that's usually what comes back to you. And you don't really get as affected by the negativity because you know that I'm not going to go in that direction. I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to participate in any of that. There's a lot of drama in this industry too. So people gossip and they talk about other people, and um, they put themselves side by side with somebody else. So they think that if you see somebody else that is thriving or rising in their opportunities or in their career, a lot of times people have the natural instinct to want to knock them down or feel jealous or feel like
Hmm.
I'm missing an opportunity because you're getting an opportunity. And that's not reality. So it's just support your friends, keep your
Hmm.
friends close, lift up the people around you. Um, I've always felt like my opportunities have come to me by accident, and usually come to me because of good karma.
Hmm.
So I think we're going to be measured in not the things that we've done, but the things that we've done for other people. So try not to let other people make you feel bad. Kill somebody with kindness instead.
Yes, 100%. That's a good message. Feel your kindness and also think, be kind to people because we don't know what
Yeah,
anybody's going. We don't know what anybody's going through. 100%.
it seems pretty simple, but it's not always that simple.
Right, 100%. Do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, I have a musical that's getting ready to film. I think I've got 4 films coming
Hmm.
out in the next 4 months. So there's one coming out October 29th, and that is called Unnatural, and it's a supernatural Western that
Hmm.
I've seen, and it's pretty good. People are going to like it. And it stars Al Snow, who is a former WWE superstar. And then I have a movie called Homeless for the Holidays that's coming out this Christmas. And then a movie called Murder by Association that's going to be coming out in January. So I have a lot of movies that are going to be coming out to different streaming platforms over the next 3 or 4 months. And then I
And
have a couple of zombie movies I'm going to be filming in the next couple of months as well.
I love zombie movies.
Yeah, they're great.
They're amazing. I gotta ask, are you the zombie or are you the person killing zombies?
Um, I'm not going to tell you that.
I was
Maybe
so
both though. Maybe both because remember I said there's a couple of them. I've got a couple of oddly enough, I think I have 3 zombie films slated to film in 2025. Oh
well.
no, one of them is filming before the end of this year, and then the other ones are the beginning of 2025.
I was hoping to get it out of you. Let the audience know.
Yeah, they got to watch the movie just to find out.
I tried, everybody. I tried. Um, you know, I'm a big zombie person. Um, so, what is your favorite zombie TV show or movie?
Warm Bodies. I
Okay.
loved that. I loved that zombie film. I thought it was interesting. I thought they did it in a different way than I had seen. Um, and I like how they um basically told it from his point of view, told the film from the zombies' point of view, which is why I liked it so much. And I thought I love the actors
Hmm.
that were in it as well.
I
And then Night
agree.
of the Living Dead is probably my favorite actual zombie movie, where it's a traditional zombie type of film.
Night of the Living Dead. I I, I believe I've
That's
seen that.
the original, the black and white version
Oh
from the
no, I have not seen that
60s.
one.
It's good.
I've not seen that one. Um, if you could be in any genre film, what film would it be?
Oh my God. In any Who's film?
Any, no, any genre film, any
Oh,
genre.
okay. Um, I would love to do a full-on comedy. Like that would be my ideal thing right now.
Hmm.
And I do have a couple that are coming up that I get to be in, luckily. But I would love to do that. I'd love to play some form of a supernatural or superhero type of role as well.
Hmm.
Who doesn't want to be a superhero?
I would love to be in the superhero film, and it would be
Right.
100% amazing to rescue somebody, and everybody's like, "You're a hero, you're a hero." That's that kind of
Yeah.
film. My my last question for you is, there probably will be a follow-up. So,
Okay.
a lot of like I was talking earlier, it's tough to be in this industry,
Yeah.
right? What is your advice for a lot of young upcoming actors who are looking up to you or looking up to any actors in this industry and they're saying, I want to do what Darren's doing, or I want to do what, for example, what Jim Carrey's doing, or Tom Hanks is doing, or any actor.
Mhm.
What is your advice for for them to realize it's not as easy you think it is?
I guess my advice would be to um, be kind to yourself and to lose your expectations because too much pressure is put on us in this industry,
Hmm.
mainly by ourselves. Um, and you need to get to a point to where it goes back to what I said before. You just got to have thick skin. Don't get too caught up in the there's two different types of actors in my opinion. So that's why I'm having a hard time actually answering it. So if you're in the industry as and want to become an actor so that you are famous or you're well known or you're um, highly esteemed or it is more inward that you're trying to fill,
Hmm.
then you're gonna have a much harder, bumpier road. It wasn't until I stopped putting expectations on myself that I started to get work, and it wasn't until I stopped caring what people thought, and that's when people started noticing. It wasn't until I stopped telling myself I needed to be something specific that I realized that that's out of my control. All I can do is do my best and try and become better each time. Don't get in your head thinking, oh, I've got a movie under my belt or I have two movies under my belt. Um, and start to get a self-inflated sense of ego. Try and pick your parts based on your challenge so that you can grow as a human and you can just get better in your craft and in your skill. And that's when the jobs will start appearing. That's pretty much
Interesting.
the best advice I could give to somebody is to not put so much pressure on yourself.
That is
Just allow it to happen.
that's 100% a good advice. 100%. I appreciate it because a lot of people who want to get in the entertainment industry, they're just trying to figure out what they need to do. And also you gave a good point is like get ready to go to auditions and being turned down many times. And a lot
Or
of
not hear
movies.
anything at all.
What was that?
Most
I'm
of
sorry.
the time we don't hear anything.
Right, right, right.
So even the turn downs are like not even getting a response. We audition for stuff. It's not like they respond to us and say thank you anyways. We went with somebody else. They won't even respond to you at all. You'll never hear anything back. So it's better just to put it out of your mind, do as many auditions as you
Mm-hmm.
can,
Mm-hmm.
and then let it go because it's out of your hands as to whether or not they call you back. Just be joyful and appreciative when they do.
That's true. 100%. I was about to try to word it that way. Thank you for trying. Yeah, for saying that, Darren. I appreciate it. Darren, I cannot wait to first of all, thank you for coming on my show. And second of all,
My pleasure.
I cannot wait to have you back to talk about all your upcoming roles.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I appreciate it. And it means a lot for thank you for following me on Instagram and and it it means a lot as myself for us in the entertainment industry that we all support each other. We all
Agreed.
we all come together as a community, but also word of mouth, but supporting each other because entertainment industry, I consider us as a family.
Yeah.
We're 100% a family supporting each other, and we are there like brothers and sisters. And it's like the family of family. Like if we could have a big Thanksgiving and all of us can meet somewhere, and eat dinner, it'd be great. That's how I view it. We're a big, huge family and we support each other. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I want to
It's
say.
definitely important because you're not going to get anywhere without it.
Right.
So I don't believe we get anywhere by what we do. We get where we're going because of the people that are holding us up from underneath. So always keep your people close and treat them right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Darren, for coming on my show.
It's my pleasure.
I can't wait to have you back.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. Anytime.
Thank you. All right, talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.